Wrestling fans, by the time I'm recording this, the Royal Rumble is starting in a matter of days now. It's currently around 11 p.m. my time on the East Coast, and I've been doing a lot of thinking about the Royal Rumble this year, mainly the men's Rumble, because this year's men's Royal Rumble has the most stacked. This year's Royal Rumble for the men is the most stacked that I've seen in a while. You have CM Punk, somebody who I thought was going to win the Royal Rumble last year. You have John Cena coming in for his final year, and this will be his last Royal Rumble. You have others like Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre. All these people I've listed so far can easily be marked down as this year's Royal Rumble winner. Even somebody else like Sami Zayn is somebody I wouldn't be surprised if he won. But I think there's one person that a lot of people aren't crediting as having a legit chance to win the Royal Rumble. The amount of main event names that have already been announced, on top of newcomers like Pentagon Jr., as he's known nowadays as Penta, with how intriguing the field is from what we know, this has the opportunity to be the best Royal Rumble WWE has ever been able to put on. And this video is going to serve as why I think Jey Uso is the one who should win the Royal Rumble match. If you guys do enjoy the content you see here on the channel, please sure to subscribe and show support any way that you can. I'm switching up a little bit from the normal baseball content I'll be sending out to you guys, allowing myself to dive into some of my other interests, and the Royal Rumble is one of my favorite times as a wrestling fan. We have a lot of great content, and you guys want to subscribe and show support. If you guys do enjoy the stuff you see here, we would love for you guys to stick around. And also, put down below who you think is going to win the Royal Rumble match. Now, with that out of the way, before I talk about the men's Royal Rumble match, I'm just going to give you guys a quick overview of how I think the Royal Rumble pay-per-view is going to go. Obviously, the main purpose of the video is the men's Royal Rumble match. I feel it's only right to kind of give you guys my predictions for kind of every match on the card. There's only 4 matches marked down for the 2025 Royal Rumble PLE. It only makes sense for one of the Royal Rumble matches to kick off the PLE, and I honestly think it's going to be the women's one first, because I think the men's one has more depth in terms of story. It seems like WWE is a little bit more invested in terms of with the amount of interwoven storylines between a bunch of the competitors. It seems like more the women's rumble is going to be a lot more reliant on surprises and in terms of just the physical storytelling within the match. But regardless, I have Io Sky winning the women's rumble. I believe her versus Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania is probably the best path they can go in to kind of start steering the women's world championship away from kind of like the loop of Rhea and the Judgment Day storyline that honestly should have been over months ago. And I think Io Sky is one of the best women's wrestlers on the planet, and obviously that's the money match I believe a lot of fans would love to see. She was doing her thing a lot over the course of last year as women's champion, and from storyline sense, there's really no way for Io to kind of get after the championship at this point. I think from a storyline perspective, I think Io winning the Rumble makes a lot more sense, because the Royal Rumble is always a great catalyst to kick off feuds and rivalries. The Motor City Machine Guns versus DIY in a 2 out of 3 falls match for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. I believe DIY is going to retain. I think if DIY loses the titles this soon, it kind of diminishes a lot of the work that went into turning DIY heel and a lot of the heel work they've been doing. I think it just washes away a lot of the work that kind of went into it. And it's a pretty compelling feud between, it's kind of like the whole teacher and student aspect with Alex Shelley and Johnny Gargano. And I just think that has the ability to be like kind of just steal the show. And obviously the WWE Championship match between Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes, it's a ladder match. I think Cody's going to walk away with that one. Obviously, a lot of people are speculating that Randy Orton's going to get involved somehow. For the men's Rumble, why should it be Jey? As a viewer, you guys are probably asking, what about all the people I mentioned earlier? And a lot of people might say some people might deserve it more than Jey Uso does. Some people think it's not believable that Jey Uso could win the Rumble with all the names I mentioned, like John Cena, Roman Reigns, CM Punk, among the others I mentioned earlier. I watched a lot of Royal Rumbles over the course of the past week, and something I found myself referring back to is how I really enjoyed a lot of the more or less like first time winners or kind of unexpected winners. Like the idea of the Royal Rumble match should be used as a tool to push someone into the main event scene. Obviously, some guys like Triple H and John Cena, those were already made men in WWE by the time they won their Royal Rumbles. Sometimes from a storyline perspective, it makes sense for someone to win the Royal Rumble, like Cody Rhodes going back to back. Let's look at the prime example of what I mean. The 2020 men's Royal Rumble when Drew McIntyre entered and won it. McIntyre, before he entered the Rumble, he was more or less kind of hanging around in the mid-card scene, a lackey for Shane McMahon, and obviously he was Dolph Ziggler's tag team partner at that time, and that was around like 2019. He goes into the 2020 Rumble, eliminates Brock Lesnar, and just looks like an absolute main event superstar. From that day forward, Drew McIntyre was a made man in WWE, and you look at it 5 years later, he is still one of the top stars in the company. Bianca Belair was another one, this time for the women. She wins the 2021 Rumble. From that moment on, from WrestleMania, when she gets kind of her crowning moment, winning the women's championship, one of, if not the top women's wrestler in WWE. And these are my points. My point is the Royal Rumble is supposed to elevate those who win it. That's why us as fans love when the win goes to someone we feel is deserving. We feel needs that kind of that push into the upper echelon of WWE. There's nothing like the Royal Rumble, and there's nothing like seeing someone you want winning the Rumble actually doing so. And Bianca Belair and Drew McIntyre were just a couple of examples. We look at Jey Uso becoming his own man, becoming main event Jey Uso, right? It seems like it's more treated like a running joke to a wrestling fan that main event Jey Uso is just a title. It's not really, doesn't hold a whole lot of weight. A lot of people will say that Jey Uso is yet to win the big one. He's yet to win a world championship, winless in world title opportunities. Obviously, just last Saturday, he lost a world heavyweight championship match to Gunther. But that's the compelling story. Jey Uso so popular, and people are getting so fed up after loss and loss and loss, that people would think is damaging him as a character, but could be planting the seeds that, oh, Jey Uso can't win the big one. But amidst all that, Jey Uso has still remained probably the most popular star in WWE, and people are growing restless about where's his crowning achievement? Where's his moment? Let's go down the name of people that believe will win the Royal Rumble. Because the way I think about it, all these other potential winners have storylines that they can go into that doesn't include them winning the Royal Rumble, especially with projections of how the WrestleMania match card is going to shape up. Obviously, it's just rumors at this point, and a lot of these potential winners can get into feuds with each other, taking each other out. Like Seth Rollins and Sami Zayn could have a WrestleMania match. It seems like a plan might be Roman Reigns and CM Punk, and keep in mind, a lot of this stuff can happen or the seeds can start getting planted during the course of the match itself. I think the only other person has a compelling case to win the Royal Rumble from a storyline standpoint is Cena. Obviously, it's his last one, and I would love to see John Cena win, but I think regardless, I think Cena has a plan for Mania anyway, and obviously report is that it could be Cena versus Cody. And if Jey Uso's promo, albeit kind of not necessarily half-hearted, but pretty winded, was anything to go by, it was that Jey Uso and Gunther aren't done with each other. At least that's what I'm led to believe. Especially with the idea that Jey Uso, it seems like the main point of his promo was that he knows he can beat Gunther. And the idea of this kind of all-star field as of right now for this Royal Rumble match, and it could be Jey Uso coming out on top, that shows more to the character of Jey Uso to be able to outlast all those names and all the names that we're yet to figure out to win the Royal Rumble match. Because as of right now, with Jey Uso coming off a big loss against Gunther at Saturday night's main event, in terms of direction, where does he go? I feel his only hope is the Rumble, if he wants another shot at the World Heavyweight Championship. And I think that's the plan that's going into WrestleMania. I think a Royal Rumble win will do the most for Jey. I don't necessarily think everybody else I've mentioned before kind of needs a Royal Rumble win to kind of get to where they want to be at WrestleMania. It's a lot easier to navigate other stories for guys like CM Punk and Rollins and McIntyre. I feel for Jey, if he loses the Royal Rumble, where does he go? And I think from a storyline sense, to kind of keep that plate spinning for Jey going after the World Heavyweight Championship is to have him go into the Rumble and win. And so they can run it back, Jey versus Gunther, again at WrestleMania. And the whole idea of Jey Uso not being able to win the big one was the big talking point. And that can more or less play into the feud and the promos they have. And while Gunther still keeps trying to get under Jey's skin, Jey's not having any of it because he already proved, for one, he outlasted some of the biggest names in the industry to earn himself a championship match at WrestleMania. I look at WrestleMania nowadays as where a lot of stars get their crowning achievements every year. It seems more, if you want to see drastic changes in WWE, you see them at WrestleMania. It's more or less like a season finale. You see all the crowning achievements at WrestleMania, and then the week after worth of TV is what sets up the company for the rest of the year. You guys tell me, I'm trying to get this out before Saturday, before ahead of the Rumble. so you guys can give me your thoughts, give me your opinions. You guys let me know if I'm full of crap. Maybe I'm just spewing nonsense, or maybe I'm onto something. Who knows? Because I guess we'll figure out Saturday. But in any case, it's just the idea with how popular Jey Uso is, the fact that I feel like in a lot of wrestling circles that he is not viewed as, you know, a favorite or a legitimate threat to win the Rumble. And even more so, I could be dead wrong and he gets checked out midway through the match. But I think if WWE wants to find the perfect way to this point to reward fans' investment in Jey Uso, who has had a meteoric rise in popularity over the last couple of years, not just let main event Jey Uso be a cool tagline on a t-shirt, but have it mean that much more and have it mean the guy who's in the main event of WrestleMania. Jey Uso, outside of winning said big one, has done everything else you could ask. One of the most popular wrestlers in the company. He's a needle mover when it comes to merch sales. Like, the guy is on top of the world, but now he needs the championship to kind of reflect that. Who do you guys think is going to win the Royal Rumble match on Saturday? I'm looking forward to kind of hearing from you guys and hearing what you guys have to say. So yeah, and all in all, I'm very excited for the Royal Rumble. It's one of my favorite times of the year in terms of the wrestling calendar. I feel I enjoy the Royal Rumble a lot more than WrestleMania. I'll say that. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys did enjoy, please show your support and subscribe to Vendetta Media and check us out on VendettaSportsMedia.com to stay up to date with all your favorite sports. With all that being said, guys, that's going to do it for me, and I'll see you guys next time.